Greetings everyone and welcome to this edition of Sea Hunters. It's a new show from the Department of Marine Resources and I'm your host, Randy Morton. We're here on site at Long Haul Fish Landing Site to do some monitoring. We had some reports that there have been some sightings of illegal fishing gear in the area, so we'll do a little beach patrol and we'll have some discussions as we go along, and I'll share a lot of information about this landing site and what's been happening here. There's roughly 4 fishers who operate from this site, and as you can see we have the 3 boats in the nearby area. Someone may ask, well, how deep is it? How do the fishers get to their boats? Well, this area is pretty shallow. There's a seagrass bed that's only about 20 feet away from the shoreline. So they could actually walk out to their vessel with all their equipment for their fishing expedition each time they go fishing. See, we have a bit of pollution going on here. You can see that this is an old net. It looks like it's been washed up. It's partly buried, but I think we'll get back here sometime later and try to help clean up the area. This is the Sargassum that has been invading the coastline of the islands throughout the Caribbean and Florida going down to Mexico area. As you can see, it's a brownish type seaweed and it floats. It's not like the seagrass that we would have around here that's anchored on the seafloor. It's a floating algae. I guess I could tell you a little bit about this, well, the history. It said that the Sargassum originates in the Gulf of Mexico, and as it grows, it floats out into the North Atlantic via some ocean currents. But the Sargassum that has been affecting the Caribbean region is said to be coming from off the coast of Brazil. And they call that a small Sargasso Sea. And there are 2 different ocean currents that would take the Sargassum out to West Africa, and the other current would take it up through the Caribbean and on to North America. Here is another algae commonly called angel hair, and this isn't normal for this particular area. However, the nutrients that comes from the dead Sargassum as they decompose close to the coastal areas releases a lot of nutrients into the water, and these type of other algae would be able to feed on those. Hence we have a lot more of it occurring in our coastal zones than we've had in the past. So the Sargassum is changing the coastal ecosystem. Now, there are a few things to note about the Sargassum when it hits shore. If it's offshore, it's fine and it provides a habitat for various fish species. But when it hits the shore, it becomes very deadly. Why it becomes deadly is pretty simple. As it decomposes, it releases a toxic gas called hydrogen sulfide. Hydrogen sulfide is very, very toxic to fish species. So fish won't be able to live in the coastal areas where there's Sargassum. Not only because of the hydrogen sulfide, but it also blocks the sunlight and prevents other organisms from being able to grow. Hence the fish will have no food, so they'll stay away from areas with Sargassum. This area is quite unique in that it has 3 crucial marine or nearshore ecosystems. Right behind me here we have some wetlands with some mangroves. I know throughout the island we have not been seeing much mangroves anymore, but in this area you have quite a few of them, and I would encourage persons who are interested in environmental science to take a trip over to Long Haul Bay and just take a walk around and look at the foliage, look at the areas, the different ecosystems. Even in this area, you will probably find some small fish that would migrate to the sea whenever there's heavy rains, and the ocean and this area would merge and create a nice estuary. As you can see here, all of the things that we throw away may make its way to the ocean and eventually makes its way back to the land, and it creates a very, very untidy and unsightly environment. So we need to be careful with the plastic bottles in particular. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8 of them just in this small area. So please, please put your plastic bottles in the appropriate bins so that they can be disposed of correctly. And things like the plastic bags could create serious problems in the marine environment, because fish would just see something, maybe looks shiny, interesting for them, they would go and eat it. But then guess what? We would in turn eat the fish. So for not just the fish's health and their environmental health, but for our health, let's take better care of our environment and put our garbage in the right type of bins. Well, I'm sure most of you, on seeing this for the very first time, would probably think that it's rope. But in truth and in fact, it isn't. It's actually the angel here, the type of algae that we saw over there after it becomes dried. It's called turtle grass. And this is the type of grass that's common in this area, especially on the seagrass bed. As you can see, we have a lot of it growing near shore in this particular area. This is the largest seagrass bed in the Federation, and it starts in the Narrows, that's just beyond the airport, and it comes all the way across to Long Haul. I'm not sure whether or not it was a part of a fad, but I guess after we excavate it, we can take it to our local fad expert, and they would give us some ideas as to what it is and how it was constructed. But this also pollutes the beaches if it's left here. So we would be asking fishers to know that they've had gear in the water after every storm. Come on out and check the beaches for fishing gear, whether it's yours, your neighbors, it doesn't matter. Just come on out, check for the fishing gear, and if you see derelict or abandoned fishing gear or even damaged fishing gear, please take it, maybe even call us and let us know that it's there so that we could come and collect it from the beach, so that the beaches would be clean for not just the fishers but for anyone who wants to use it. As you can see here, we have a metal fish trap that has probably been here for quite a while. Fishers, please, after each storm, come out and check the beach. Just do a walk along the beach side and see what's going on there. If there's any abandoned, old, damaged fishing equipment, please just let us know. Let's come out, work together, and keep our beaches clean. I cannot stress that enough. Please, persons in the community, don't say that this is a marine resources issue or a fisherman issue or a tourism issue. It's our issue. This is our island, our environment. The beaches belong to us, the people. So let's work together and just keep it clean. All right, as we're walking across the beach here, we came across this pile of conch shells. And conch is a CITES species, so it has international regulations. And as you see, I've placed 2 shells out from the entire lot. These 2 or regulation size. So these are the only 2 conchs which should have been harvested. When we look at the pile that we have here, clearly we can see this is a juvenile versus this one, which is an adult. And the conch, after it's taken out of the shell, should weigh approximately 500 grams. Let's go a little bit deeper into this. A conch would take approximately about 3.5 years to mature. So what happens if we take 2 adults that are matured and we take all of these juveniles that won't have a chance to become adults and propagate or create more conch? What we are doing is actually damaging the conch industry and damaging the numbers of conch that we can harvest in the future. So I would implore all conch fishers to follow the regulation size and get conch with the flared lip and not the ones without. Because if we keep taking these, eventually we won't have any more of these. And if that's the case, we won't have any more conch at all, which is a situation we don't want to have. We want to preserve the species for the future so that in 20, 25 years, our great-grandchildren could eat conch and enjoy it, because this is also a part of our culture. Fishing is a cultural activity, and as such, we need to do whatever we can to continue this industry, strengthen it and sustain it. But we need to do sustainable harvesting, which simply means let's take the adults, leave the juveniles so that they can become adults, and we will continue to harvest conch for years to come.